On today's episode of Private Club Radio, we're joined by three outstanding general managers from the United Kingdom, and we're going to talk about Cyber Monday and what that means for your club.
Welcome to Private Club Radio, your weekly source for industry education, news and discussion. Broadcasting from Tampa, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, here is your host, Gabriel Aloisi.
Hey, happy Cyber Monday to you. It's a big day for online shopping, but really this whole weekend was, if you haven't paid attention to the news, people visiting in-store, going to shop on Black Friday was considerably down, while most people actually stayed home and did their shopping and their holiday buying right from their living rooms, their couches, and their mobile devices. I think that's really telling of the society that we are living in right now. And I feel rather strongly that if your club does not have a presence online, you've got to get online. It's time to stop waiting and stop making excuses for why you're not online. If you don't have a social media presence, if you don't have a website that's full of useful and valuable information, and that's a key distinguisher, let me tell you, because I go to a lot of private club websites and it's the same old, same old. I couldn't tell one from the other. They put the bare minimum amount of information on there, and then they say, oh, it's because we're super exclusive. We don't want anyone to know what we're doing over here. Okay, it's time to get over that. You're complaining about membership and your website tells me nothing about your club. It's time to make a change. You cannot do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, and the world is passing you by. Because what you've got to understand and what you've got to communicate to your membership committee or whoever is making these types of decisions is that people aren't just buying online. They are doing all their research online. They're talking to their friends online. People are literally living lives online. And it's a scary thing for a lot of people who don't want things to change. But I'm sorry. Things have changed. It's never going back to the way it was. It will never be the way it was. It's not going to be the good old days anymore. Those days are gone. And I know this sounds harsh, but I feel it's time to really drive this point home because I'm just coming across too many clubs that aren't doing the right things online, and there's literally no excuse at this point. There is no excuse. Now, I get it. You might not know what those right things are. You might be thinking that I'm doing the best I possibly can with what I've got. I get that. But there are so many great professionals in this industry to talk to. They will hold your hand and walk you through what needs to be done to get your club to the point where you are attracting members, where people are begging to join your club, where they are literally beating down the doors. This can happen. This is happening right now on Cyber Monday in all sorts of industries that probably 5 to 10 years ago said, nah, the way we're doing things is right, and we don't want to change right now. But they had to change. And it's time for us as an industry to change, to make that change, because people are doing their shopping online. It's very obvious. Not only doing their shopping, they're doing their research, and they are making their decisions online. And you got to be where they're making their decisions. If you're not there, they won't include you in their decision-making process. It's literally that simple. So I'm hopping off my soapbox now, and we're moving on. But if you have any questions at all about who do I talk to, who can point me in the right direction, who will help me do the right thing, then just get in touch with me. I've got a billion ways you can do that. Probably the easiest way would be to go online and fill out the form on Private Club Radio. And I promise you that this is not some sales pitch for my own company. There are some great professionals that have been on this show, quite frankly. We've had some extremely good guests on this show, people like Shanna Bright at Private Clubs Online, for instance. But there are people that specialize in certain areas of online presence, and I will point you in the right direction, if for nothing else, because I want to see this industry succeed, and I will do everything in my power to do that. I will not let this industry go quietly into the night. I will not let it go the way of the dinosaur. I'm on a mission to help. All right, so we actually have some incredible guests on today. We are doing something a little bit different. It's a general managers roundtable. We've got 3 extremely talented gentlemen that are joining us from the United Kingdom to give us the perspective of what's happening over there across the pond in the UK in the golf industry. We're joined by Leighton Walker, General Manager of Burford Golf Club. We are also joined by Stuart Gillette, General Manager at the Golf at Goodwood, and Alex Woodward, General Manager at Boyce Hill Golf and Country Club. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Very good. Great, guys. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, well, it's always good to kind of get a treat to go across the pond and get the perspective of you gentlemen that are doing some things differently over there in the UK and in Europe. So my first question for you, and I'm going to direct this to Alex first. I want to talk about golf culture and how that differs in the United States from the UK.
Well, I think the game of golf obviously started up in Scotland, so we've got quite a long-standing history, and golf clubs routinely being over 100 years old, steeped in tradition and very set ways of doing things. Certainly today, where we've got to deal with is trying to be brave enough to create the traditions of tomorrow without upsetting the past. And we've been given the mantle of a great game. We don't want to change it too much, but we must make it relevant to the society that we're in.
That's right. So as a follow-up to that, what are some of the things that you gentlemen are doing at your clubs in order to speak to the needs of these new consumers? What are some of the new amenities and offerings that you are providing? Let me first ask Stuart over at Goodwood.
I think it's utilizing what information you get from members. I think that we've got such a diverse group of people. It's really understanding what it is they want. Certainly one of the things that has come back to us is a social and fun format of the game. So we try and have a couple of competitions every month that have a very sort of fun feel to it. And, whether it's based around, take the Ryder Cup, for example, recently doing something around that and then creating an environment post-golf where off the golf course there is a social experience for people to do. Whether it be sort of football around big tournaments that teams are qualifying for, be it rugby. We have a big sort of European Six Nations Championship in March, April time, where we to have associations with teams. So really, it's that culture of getting people engaged with slightly different things. In terms of sort of non-golf activities, it's looking and utilizing what we've got here at the estate. So recently we did a foraging exercise with some members where the chefs from the kennels here, the clubhouse, took them out foraging for mushrooms and truffles, etc. And members just love that unique aspect to it. One of the other things, we try very hard to make people aware or make our members aware of why we do things on the golf course. We're set in the South Downs National Park here. So, we try and do what we can to be sustainable and, work with the environment. So we've just started producing our own honey here.
Wow.
From some bees on the estate, which is great. So really looking at the flora and the fauna that we've got and taking people out on the golf course. So we did a members meeting recently where we actually took them on the golf course and we showed them what a stimp meter was. And honestly, to a person, they were like, oh, wow, is that what it is? And really making sure that the communications that we send out to members, they're able to understand actually what it is. when we talk about compaction or moisture content, showing them how we measure it.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, it proved incredibly invaluable because they started to understand a little bit more about the science of what a golf course is.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And you're helping the environment. We have a big honeybee problem. There's just a shortage, and having honey right there on your course, that would be one way to help solve that. So doing good for the environment, I think, obviously if you want to connect with the younger generations, green type things and those sorts of things are very, very good to do.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yep. Tell us about there's actually a horse race at your club or an entire meet at your club. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so horse racing has been taking place at Goodwood since the late 1700s, and we have it's flat racing. So we have we have 19 racing days, and it's the culmination is a 5-day festival, which has for many years been known as Glorious Goodwood, and recently we've joined with Qatar, so it's the Qatar Goodwood Festival, and really it's world class horse racing in an incredible environment. So yeah, horse racing is a big part of what we do here. Talk about history and heritage, like I say, it's been going on since the late 1700s, and some of the certainly Europe's finest horses have raced at Goodwood.
Wow. Now, Alex, Boyce Hill Golf Club has quite a large property as well. I think I see that you have over 100 acres there at the property. Are you doing any of those sorts of things at your club as well?
There's no easy way to compete with what Stuart's got at Goodwood.
Sure.
And the easy answer is no.
Okay.
We can't do that. But what we can focus on is our core offering and doing it exceptionally well. I think at Boyce Hill, we look to really try and create a fabric of community. And when I call it, to use an American saying, I call it the Cheers Factory, where you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Sure.
And it's a nice, safe, secure environment that you can have social cohesion with other like-minded individuals. They like to play lots of cards. They like to play golf. They like to watch sporting events together on the television. And being British, we also like to enjoy a good pint together. And being able to provide all of those things is hugely important. Not just having a first-class golf course. There's many different types to our community. There's the golfing community, should I say, in that you have the guys that want the world-class golf course, but you also have particularly the ladies want a good golf course, but they also want great coffee and great seats to sit on, and nice, warm, cozy rugs during the winter, and nice open sunrooms during the summer. So making it a great place where we've got so busy in our lives. We talk about part of our biggest competition is time. The club offers a welcome distraction from the speed of everyday life, that you can go with your friends and meet with like-minded individuals, hopefully with your family and friends, and have a really good time without feeling under pressure at all.
Right. So I went on your website and I saw these packages that you offer. You have these things that you call societies, and I don't think we have anything quite like that in the United States. Can you explain what those are and how they work?
I think in the United States, we call them societies. You would call them outings.
Okay.
So we have large groups of people come in and they experience being member for a day. They play golf. They will dine. They may have breakfast and lunch. They might have lunch and dinner. But really what you get a flavor of is being a member for the day. So you get a first class welcome. You get full access to all of the areas of the club as if you were a fully fledged member. We like to throw in a few bells and whistles as well so that you feel extra special on your day and of course that you want to come back.
Do you find that that's successful in converting these one-time visitors into coming back and becoming members of your club?
Absolutely. Having people being able to touch and feel the product is vitally important to actually converting them to buy. For me, there's two ways of doing it. And the first core way is that you try and send everyone away from your club, whether that be as a visitor, guest, or society member, or a member themselves, as an ambassador for your club. The greatest brochure in the world, the greatest radio commercial, the greatest TV ad can only give you a flavor. But when somebody sits next to you at the dinner table and says, wow, I had this amazing time at Boyce Hill yesterday, you really need to go and check it out. That's the difference that's going to make people want to take notice and do that. So by taking it beyond the membership and having people in for the day to then go away, hopefully as an ambassador, really through word of mouth, gets out there about the product that we have on offer.
Right.
The more people get to hear about it, especially when positively reinforced by people they trust, there's no better lead anywhere.
Sure. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. And, I think a lot of clubs would say, well, we're an exclusive club and we don't want guests, coming in and what have you. What would be your answer to that in your experience then, Alex?
That's a great question. In my experience, there's the only way of being able to keep your subscription manageable, your membership fees manageable, is with other people's money. No, that's fine. If you're happy to keep paying more and more and more for the product, but especially with an aging club, where I talk routinely, where, my club is just approaching 100 years old, we have to look after it. You have to continually invest to move it forward. I think the best way to describe that to the listeners at the moment would be Disney. Mm-hmm. Disney is I believe around 70 years old. Yet you go there and it doesn't look 70 years old. The only way they can do that is to do the right thing in the right way at the right time with a first-class maintenance program, yep, and a way that everyone who comes through gets a first-class experience. So the members can pay more, but actually trying to make it affordable and accessible, which is part of the challenge that we're bringing now, is a lot of people who have a lot of time to play golf are often fixed income pensioners.
Sure.
They're not working anymore. They don't necessarily want to keep paying more, whereas the guy who's very successful in the city is quite happy to pay money for the exclusivity. So it's a very difficult line to walk, but you got to try and tread the tightrope of saying, look, we can get so much done with sharing a little bit.
Right.
We're not going to go the whole way. At a private members club, the members come first, absolutely.
Sure.
But to share it a little bit helps. And of course, immediately going back to the point I was making is new people touching the product and seeing it, and they think, you know what, I want some of this. Where do I sign up?
I love it, because that's really how people buy. I mean, our culture has shifted worldwide in that respect. People, I think they belabor decisions. It's not a split decision to buy a private club membership. And if they can get a taste and then you can turn them into brand champions, I think that's absolutely fantastic. And the side note, I love that you brought up Disney, because I've read a lot about Disney. Did you know that each and every night they actually paint the Disney carousel with gold paint so that the person from the day before gets the same experience as the next person? The amount of detail that goes into Disney is quite fascinating.
It's absolutely amazing. I've read a lot from John Hench, who is head of maintenance there for so many years.
Yeah.
And it is about that experience. I talk to my staff all the time about, that you wait in line for 2 hours as an adult to meet a fake princess with your children. And you spend 15 minutes with the princess, and the first thing the children say when you come out is, let's go again, let's go again.
Right.
Unless that person who's playing the princess realize that everybody who comes in there has to feel like that 15 minutes is entirely theirs. Yep. You can't get it. And that comes with chip paintwork, that comes with gum on the ground, that comes with having a first-class facility looked after really, really well, yep, especially when you're selling a product like private memberships.
Well said, Alex. Absolutely. Leighton, I want to turn it back towards you here and talk about Burford for a moment. You're also a club that's pretty golf-centric. Can you sort of take me through some of the things that you're doing to maybe set yourself apart from the competition there?
Yeah, we're very golf-centric, Dave. You're absolutely right. And I think we're just very much turning our focus at the moment to the member experience. So, just looking at the social side of things, we have a great social club already, but we're just looking to try and maybe put on some events that appeal to slightly different audience, maybe a slightly younger audience, or someone maybe that just wants something different. We ran a barbecue through the summer this year in August, and myself and one of the other board members actually were out there cooking the barbecue, and we had about 90 people turn up to that, and they had a great night. So it's just, what can we do to just improve that member experience? It is very much about the golf. So for us, it's not going to be necessarily about building tennis courts or
Sure.
bocce courts or what have you. The focus is on the golf, but making that the best possible experience. But I think as well, we want that clubhouse to be a haven for people. We want them to be able to come, enjoy it, feel relaxed, maybe bring their families if they like to, but have that great social environment where people can come and be comfortable and have a great time. So we're going to look to build on that. We're looking to do some things around practice facilities, which maybe just need a little bit of improvement. So looking forward to getting into some projects there, but just give that member the all-round experience. I think that's what people are looking for now. It can't purely be just about the golf course. You've got to have the clubhouse, the golf course, the practice facilities, the service to go along with it. It's that total picture, really.
Well, you mentioned practice facilities, so I want to dive a little bit deeper there. Here, there's a concept I'm sure you know of, Top Golf, where they're making the golf just a little bit more fun and using the practice facility as a way to get people engaged in the game of golf. Are you doing some things over there like that?
Yes, we are, and I'm not necessarily talking about my own facility here, but I know that there are places out there very much doing that, and you can see how that would appeal to a young person or anyone getting into the game. Really, is just making it more fun. We've got practice facilities over here where you hit balls through rugby goals or football goals or through old tires, and there's all sorts of different developments now happening on driving ranges. So that's where people start. It's where they learn. It's where they need to get engaged, and I guess we need to get them hooked at that point. If we can do that, then great. We move them on to the membership. But so much of that starts on practice facilities. We're actually looking at just a possibility going forward of maybe looking at converting a practice fairway area, which we might look to convert into a little short course for various events.
Nice.
And again, that might be great for the juniors when they're learning. It might be a little 5 or 6 hole course with holes that are 70, 80 yards long. But yeah, we've got Top Golf here too, and it's proven to be quite popular and really, really growing in popularity, actually.
In what other areas, and I'll leave this open to whoever would like to answer it, but in what other areas are you gentlemen drawing inspiration from other industries or from other outside venues?
Well, we discussed this actually before we came on air, and actually we think the best answer is cricket.
Interesting. Okay. Explain that for us.
Everyone will laugh. Well, cricket had a huge problem 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a little bit more by now. Who knows? Time flies. But the most popular form of the game was a 5-day test match,
right?
Which after 5 days you could still have a draw. I hear everyone yawning as I speak. Yeah, what they did is they dared to be different. They came up with a version called 2020.
Mm-hmm.
For your listeners there, cricket is played in innings. It's not played in overs,
mm-hmm.
much like innings, where there's 6 pitches per over. And both teams play 20 overs. So you bat for 20 overs, you field for 20 overs, and the most runs wins. It's revolutionized cricket. It's made it short. It's made it fast. It's made it entertaining. It's grown now in India with the Indian Premier League. They didn't take the test match. They took 2020. And in the throes of that, they also didn't alienate the old guys that really liked test matches.
Right.
We have them both. They're both hugely popular. But the 2020 version of the game is the one that really excites people new to the sport.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And I think that's a really important point you make there about not alienating the older generations. And I think a lot of times people are walking on eggshells because they do want to cater to getting some younger members in, but they don't want to leave everybody else out. So, any other ideas there on your end on how to make sure that your club is evolving and offering a better experience for the younger members, but still keeping with the tradition?
I think you've used the word experience there, and I think that is something that is key going forward. I think that we are in the service industry, and I think that we need to look after people. We shouldn't be complacent. And I think certainly from my point of view, I take inspiration from service culture, from people wanting to deliver. In fact, Alex, when we met a few weeks ago, talked about the wow factor, and that really when people go away from our clubs, for any interaction they have, we want them to say wow afterwards. And personally, I take a lot of inspiration from the US mentality and actually the culture around service, because it's hugely important. We need to make sure that we give people a reason to come back. Mm-hmm. And I think that across the board in the UK, service levels are improving. We need to set expectations, and we need to make sure we manage people and lead people and inspire them to deliver at. So that for me is very much important, where historically I think people have felt golf clubs have been stuck in their ways, but I know that the fact that we're sat here now discussing it says that actually we are changing.
Right.
And we need to change.
Yeah. Just some wonderful insights. And the last question I have for you guys before we go is relates to service and team building, because you're each where you're at in this moment in time because you've been able to build and inspire great teams. Could you each kind of go through and just give us one tip on team building and inspiring a team? Can we start with Leighton and have you guys go through?
Yeah, I think probably one of my key tips, Gabe, would be to get on in there, really. I think sometimes you've got to be seen to be able to do these things as well. It can't be just about sitting in your office, having everyone out there doing what you want them to do. I think sometimes you've just got to get in there and show that you're willing to do that, and show that you know all areas of the club as well. I think you should have that knowledge that you can talk to anyone in the club and know their job and know what they're doing, and if necessary even be able to get in there and do that yourself. It's not to say you should be doing that every day, but I think sometimes it's just that lead by example kind of attitude, really.
I take the trash out at my office at least once a month just to show them that I'm not above that. I think that's a great tip, to get right down in there in the trenches.
Yeah, I have been known to go and pull a pint before in the bar.
Oh, there you go. Do you drink it after you pull it?
Not in front of the milk.
Right on. Just joking. Alex, how about you? What's one tip you could give our audience?
I would say commit to wow. As Stuart's alluded there when we spoke about it, is committing to providing the best possible service with a smile you can. The backup to that, as a manager, is being able to empower people to feel confident to do that and not being afraid to almost fail on that. That do you feel like you've got the skill set and the tools to be able to do that? And if you haven't, I'm absolutely here to help you and inspire you, try and get to that position where you are wholly comfortable with. I think the hospitality industry in the States is first class, and I think there's a lot to be gained from that. And a word like wow for me is the perfect encapsulation of that.
I love it. How about you, Stuart? What's the one tip that you could give us?
I would say to understand that there's a difference between management and leadership, and really continue to sort of self-develop and understand as an individual how important your role is in inspiring people. And I've spent a bit of time on that over the last 2 years, and it's made a massive impact for me. And through one thing, and that's I've been able to, not that I feel I've done anything wrong, but listen to people. And actually, there's loads of different ways, obviously, that we can listen. But hopefully, I've cracked that to an extent now where my team feel I do listen, and that makes a huge difference. Because if you can do that, they see you as a leader, and essentially from on a day-to-day basis, they're the ones delivering your ethos and your objectives.
Right. Yep. That's so good, guys. I really appreciate. I think our listeners can get a lot out of that. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today on Private Club Radio. Loved the insights there. And for listeners who want to get in touch with these gentlemen, I will make their contact information available on our website on the show page for this episode. But before that, if you want to check out each of their websites, I invite you to check out Leighton's site, which is Burford Golf Club, BURFORD golfclub.co.uk. Alex can be reached at boycehillgolfclub.co.uk, Boyce spelled BOYCE, boycehillgolfclub.co.uk, and Stuart Gillette over at Goodwood, which is the new club on my bucket list. Go check it out. It's a unique club, and we're probably going to get Stuart back on this show to talk a little bit more about it. But that is goodwood.com.
Our webinar series resumes January the 4th with special guest Michael Crandall. Visit privateclubradio.com/education to register today.
Well, that is going to do it for this week's edition of Private Club Radio. I recommend, if you haven't been there, to check out privateclubradio.com and search around. There's all kinds of great things happening over there. You can vote for the next episode. You can download our app for your iPhone or your Android device. And you can check out past guests and get a few new ideas for your private club. Until next week, here's to your membership success.
Private Club Radio is brought to you by the Private Club Agency, the premier marketing and consulting firm dedicated to helping clubs increase and retain their membership. Visit privateclubagency.com to learn more.